Hey, so I'm now back and we learned how to set up our root component, how to bootstrap it, how to get our application starting, and we had a little look at our template. In this video, we're going to create our own component. So let's do this. I'll do it right here in my dev folder. As I said, this will be where all our TypeScript code and all our components, modules, whatever we will create, all of that lives in this dev folder and its sub folders. So let me create the my component, and now the naming convention of our files here is to name them first the name of our component, then a dot, then component, then just the file ending ts for TypeScript. And this is now the basic file for my component. Now the first thing we need to do here, let me zoom in, to make this work is we need to import component from Angular to core. Now this will enable us to use that component decorator, this metadata I showed you in the app component. Second thing is I will create a class and I will export it so that it is available outside of this module. So I'll export a class here, which I will name my component. And normally you shouldn't have that component thing here. So what you would have like a contact list component or a contact detail component, right? Just the component here happens to be called my component. So this is the component class and I don't need to add anything there as of now. The next thing I will add though is the decorator so that we can attach the metadata to our component here. So I will use @component, then have parentheses, and then squared bracket, curly braces inside the parentheses. So we create a JavaScript object in this, in these parentheses here. And now inside here, we're doing all the configuration for our component. Now, as I said, we have a lot of options what we can configure there, right? First thing is we'll create our selector, so the HTML tag by which we can embed this component. And this should also reflect the name of our component. So I will call it my component with a dash between the my and component. Then we will have a template here. And I will again use my backtick notation to have multiple lines available. And I will just output, this is my component for now. And this is for the moment all for our own component. As you can see, it's pretty similar to our app component because yeah, it is just another component, right? Now we use this component in our app component because, as I said, this is our root component and we only have one root component. So all other components will have to somehow live in this app component. So we're doing this here by let me get rid of this paragraph here. Then I have another heading here which says, now comes the second component. And below here, I will use the selector I just created. So I will enter my component here to insert my component. Now, if we have a look at our web page, we're not seeing the text I entered there. Remember, I had, this is my component. Well, it's not showing up here. So something is not working here. Well, at the moment we're inputting our component here. We're embedding it into our HTML. But just as with the index.html and the app tag here, where we had to start it in our bootstrap file, our app component does not know what my component should be. We have to kind of bootstrap it here. We have to tell our app component how to embed something which has this tag. We do this by adding another configuration here. So we have selector, we have template. Now comes another one which is very important. This is called directives. Now directives takes an array, and in this array we will list all directives, and remember, components are directives, just that they have a template attached to them. So in this array here we will define all non-default built-in directives, and our components aren't built into Angular 2, that we will need in this template or in this component for it to work correctly. So in this case, I will import the my component, and now my IDE automatically added this import statement up here. But make sure you do have this import statement too. So you need to import my component from my component.component, so from this file, right? You need to have this import statement for it to work. Now let me save this. And now you can see we got this. This is my component text. Now to make things a little bit easier, I will just quickly rearrange this here so that we now get this side by side. And I will keep this for all the other videos in this course. Now this is how we create our own component, how we embed it, and how we use it with this directives configuration. Now obviously outputting just static text is not that exciting and probably not what you will be doing in your applications. Therefore, in the next video, we will have a look at the various template expressions we can use in Angular 2 to alter our template, to insert data dynamically. See you there. Bye.